The Nuggets were a subpar defensive team last year. Defense wins championships, though. So, what are they going to do about it? We're going to talk about it next here on Locked On Nuggets.
You are Locked On Nuggets, your daily Denver Nuggets podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Nuggets, your daily Denver Nuggets podcast, part of the Locked On Network, your team every day. Thank you so much for tuning into this show and all of the shows that we do heading up 2 weeks away from Media Day now, Matt. We are very excited to start getting into the swing of things. We are almost there. Very close. Very, very excited, Matt.
This is the best intro you've done on this show. It was so good.
Thank you.
Nailed that. Let's get the energy going. Let's go.
Let's go. Well, it's a good thing that we've got the energy going because today's podcast is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5. And if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Download the app today. I did not win today, Matt, and that's okay. We're going to talk about a variety of things on today's show, but mostly we're going to focus on defense. But we'll talk in the third segment about free agency, some of the leftover stuff, why the Warriors are the main culprits in that, and how they are screwing everything up for everybody else at the end of this thing. But first, Matt, we're going to talk about defense. We're going to talk about an offseason that Denver had that I think almost universally has been praised extensively. It's been one where everybody has really highlighted, hey, you got Cam Johnson. Awesome. That's an upgrade over Michael Porter Jr., most would say. You got Bruce Brown back. Awesome. That's a good fit for this team. You got Tim Hardaway Jr. What a steal. You got Jonas Valanciunas. How did you turn Dario Saric into Jonas Valanciunas? None of those guys, except for maybe Bruce Brown, are guys that you can really say are excellent on the defensive end. And we just came off of a year where Denver was horrible defensively. So my question to you, can this Nuggets team, can this Nuggets defense win a championship?
Okay. Yes. Yes, 100% yes. Because first off, they were 18th in 2023 and they still won the championship. So like just right off the bat, yes, that they've already done this before. The last two champions have been top 5 defenses. That's for sure. And it's obviously better when you're a top 5 offense, top 5 defense. Like that's better. Like you have a better chance. You're going to win more games. You're going to have home court. You don't have to shoot well. Like all of these things, like it would be nice, right? It's great. But if they're not above average, as long as they're not bottom 10, and it's really like bottom 8, you can do this. If you're bottom 8 in either category, you have no shot of winning an NBA title. Like all of the data kind of reflects and backs this up. The thresholds for the Western Conference over the past 10 years have leaned a little bit higher, but bear in mind that it's more of like, hey, you gotta be like top 10. Not like you gotta be top 3.
Yeah.
And a lot of this is like, you can kind of meld this, but here's the biggest thing, Ryan. And this is like, I battle with this on a daily basis covering the NBA.
Okay.
And I think and like, you make me think about this more than anybody else because you're really good at keeping me out of the hyper complexity that I will sometimes fall into and remind me of like, yeah, but he's not a good defender. Like how good you are as a defender matters. And the reason that I get away from that, Billy Donovan built a top 5 defense with Nikola Vucevic, DeMar DeRozan, and Zach LaVine.
Whew.
And everyone will go, Alex Caruso and Lonzo Ball. Okay, cool. Alex doesn't play that many minutes. Lonzo still had some injury stuff going on when the year that he did play. And you still had the units that didn't have them be good.
Right.
Last season, when you look at the top 10 defenses in the league, what you wind up doing is we wind up taking guys who we didn't think of as good defenders and saying they're good defenders because they played on good defenses. And we do the opposite where we're like, he's not a good defender because he was on a bad defensive squad, right? Is Ja Morant an elite defender? No. Is Scottie Pippen Jr. an elite defender? No.
Better than Ja Morant. But
and I'm not saying that's not true. And I'm saying that you do need good defenders. You can't do it, I think, you can't do it with 5 bad defenders. I don't care how good your system is.
Right.
And you can't really even do it with 5 like mediocre ones. But when you look at the Orlando Magic, like Jalen Suggs missed almost the entire season last year, and their defense was still elite. No one talked about Paolo Banchero's defense coming into the league. Yeah. Nobody would have thought that Paolo was going to be like the best player on one of the best defensive teams in the league. And that's not because like he's their best defender. Their center is largely by kind of committee, with Wendell Carter Jr. kind of being the most consistent guy. And I think WCJ is actually great and underrated. But like outside of Suggs, who again missed all of last year, they don't have those elite guys because like Danny says, you need an elite point of attack defender and scheme. I don't know that you need an elite point of attack defender. I think you need to have one on the roster, but I don't think it's like you got to have him all the time, because the Clippers last year had Chris Dunn, but they didn't play him enough for him to get recognized for all defense. That's how many minutes he played.
But they still were able to be a top 3 defense, I believe, in part because they had the rim protection, they had the scheme, they had the environments that really helped. And to me, it does matter. So much of Denver's struggles last year, because they were 8th the year before, Matt. Like they were a top 10 defense the year before. They were really good. And it was a lot about mentality. It was a lot about finishing plays and being willing to make the extra play. Aaron Gordon was healthy for the entire season. That was obviously a massive difference. But you had guys that were just flying around, including KCP, who was on the roster, and that really helped. But you had a whole bunch of guys that were still willing to try to do the thing and do the hard stuff that it didn't feel like translated as much last year. And part of that is the messaging was not getting through with the coaching staff. And part of that was the players were just slacking off. I do think that a lot of players were taking their cues from Jokic, and I don't think he had his good defensive season. A lot of this is going to come down to Jokic, I believe, and how much he's willing to put in during the 82 games in terms of setting the example, in terms of like really being the leader out there that the team can embody. Because I think that a lot of people look at that, and especially with a new head coach on the roster, like you're going to need a leader on the court too.
I disagree.
Okay.
Subtly. And I think I'll explain to you on the other side why it is that I think Nikola Jokic needs to do less on defense for them to have a better defense.
Well, we will talk about Denver's defense and Nikola Jokic is rolling it on the other side here on Locked On Nuggets. All right, let's talk about FanDuel, folks. The NFL season is here in full swing, and FanDuel is making sure that you're ready for kickoff with a can't-miss offer. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. I love using FanDuel because I love putting together parlays. They may not win, and they did not win this week, but I had a good one on Monday, and I had a good one on last Sunday that really helped, and it gives you the flexibility, gives you the fun, and you get to live and breathe with every snap of the game, especially if you're tuning into some other the fun programs that help you watch as many games as possible. Are you ready to play? Download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet. We'll be right back on Locked On Nuggets. All right, back at it, Locked On Nuggets. Thank you so much for making us a part of your day. Hit that like button, folks. Hit that subscribe button. Would really, really appreciate it. We're talking Denver Nuggets defense. Denver Nuggets struggles defensively last year. And I struggle talking about Nikola Jokic sometimes in this because of the burden that he carries on the offensive end, because he's getting older. It's people don't realize this. Like, he's now 30, he's going to turn 31 next year. And it does just like remind you that he's going into his 11th season. He's had to carry a heavy load. He's played a lot of games. Like, carrying a lot of that weight on both ends of the floor can be really difficult. So your argument is that he should be doing a little less this year.
Yeah, I actually want to ask your opinion on this because I don't know, and you had really good thoughts on this last year because you argued that Jokic has like a bigger defensive assignment than everybody else, and I laughed at it. And then like I asked everybody else, and they were like, "Oh yeah, it's Jokic. It's definitely centers." And like you were right, like you were just right. Is it more taxing, do you think, for Jokic to be at the level or in drop?
I think it's more taxing at the level. I do consistently think that, like, because so much of the scheme that Denver has to play when he's ranging out there as often as possible, teams have gotten so good because they've seen him do it for 8 years now. Like, it really has been the scheme that Denver's used for like 7 or 8 years. Basically what they do is they like stretch him out as much as possible. They try to get around him on the angle. They pull him away from the middle of the floor. And then he has to go all the way back to the other side. And they might do a second side pick and roll, or they might like try to get another action. And he's supposed to rotate over. He's supposed to get back over. He's not getting back in time in a lot of those cases. And so I think that it is a lot to have to jump out, go back, jump out again, go back, and just having to do that on 3 separate times in one possession, it's just exhausting, Matt.
I kind of agree. And if they play more drop, I think it's okay. In part because I think Christian got so much better getting over screens last year.
Yeah.
Like I harped on this early in the year where I was like, this is a real weakness for Christian. And it was a big reason why Christian had so many Nuggets had awesome offensive years and really disappointing defensive seasons. Aaron shoots better than 40% from 3-point range. And yet, like Ryan and I were kind of like, it wasn't a great year because of the defense and the injuries.
Yeah.
Christian had a phenomenal season because he took this huge loop in usage and in responsibility and his conversion rate on tough finishes. But he wasn't the defensive stopper that I think everybody was kind of hoping that he would be, because 1, he was playing more minutes, and 2, it was really a challenge for him to be the guy having to go over all those screens. But by the end of the year, Christian got way better at it. Right. He just got so much better at it, and he's going to keep getting better at that as his career goes along. So that like initially just helps you, because most teams are not, you'll see it where teams will target and be like, no, let's get Jamal on him and then let's run it. But most of the time they'll just be like, no, let's just run the, like, it's fine. We're just going to run the 1-5. Like Christian Brown's on me. It's like, it's January. It's fine. Right. And the better the Christian is, the easier that makes it for Jokic to manage in between. Jokic is inherently worse at drop. You're going to give up more shots at the rim. You're going to give up higher percentage shots at the rim. It's hard for him to not get caught in no man's land. He's always a little bit like, I don't know, like he doesn't want to overcommit to the pull-up jumper. And so he just kind of allows it. And if you do that versus top level guards, they'll kill you. Right. So there's always downsides to doing it. But if you just execute it a little bit better, and this is where both in drop and at the level in both pick and roll defenses, I believe the Cam Johnson addition, because there is this kind of like, that's been a discussion point kind of on the fringes this season and the offseason, is like, how good is Cam Johnson defensively?
Sure.
And there's a lot of answers. Like Phoenix fans are like, he's great. And Brooklyn fans are like, he's trash. Right. And you could probably point to the situations there for a lot of that. But even if we split the difference and we go in the middle, the big key here is that Cam Johnson is going to be less mistake prone and more athletic than Michael Porter.
The athleticism is a key. It's just the mobility, right?
So I watched all of the possessions where Cam Johnson was involved in these sequences. And what I can tell you is his timing and speed is so much better. Mike had 2 problems. Mike would overcommit and be like 3/5 of the way over to the strong side of the lane, which means he's got to get all 3/5 back and then to the corner. Right. His timing wasn't great. His recognition of now is the time to turn. And then when he does turn, because he's 6'10", because he's got the back issues, because he's a big dude, Spike's a big guy. Yeah. The recovery time was worse. Cam just makes that read better. there's just going to be more times when he recovers to the corner and you're going to see like, oh, instead of a wide open three, it's a pump fake. And they got to reset or they got to run another screen. And now, the guy's up against Aaron. Oh, because of steal. Like, it's those little tiny stabs that you get as a defense when you don't allow easy stuff. And in drop, it's help from the top side, right? Either one of the things that he did last year, this is what I was trying to say, was about Aaron's lack of defensive impact. A lot of it is that teams, if you notice, teams would take his guy and be like, no, we're parking him above the break. Aaron's never the low man. We're not putting AG as he doesn't get to be the rim protector. No.
It's going to be Mike or Jamal every time. Yeah. You're going to force those guys, those ones that struggle or either are too small or too slow or too like not precise enough to have to make that call. And that's really tough for Denver's defense.
Right. Cam and AG, if they're running drop, can help more and then recover better. Because now you can hide Jamal more effectively because you're not trying to hide Jamal and Mike and help Yoke. Right. Now it's just, we need to hide Jamal a little bit and we need to help Yoke. And that just simplifies things.
Yeah.
That just makes it a little bit easier. You don't have possessions where it's like, oh no, Mike in mid transition got caught on this guy. We've got to go send a naked double. How many times last year I know that term is what it is, but like how many times last year did you see them send an outright double, a very obvious, not pick and roll double, just like we have to send two at this guy because we can't let him attack our guy off the dribble. That won't happen
too many times.
And that won't happen as much this year.
Yeah.
And so like, that's your pathway to this defense being good enough to win a championship it's these, I don't think that their jump is going to be like, oh my God, they're a ball hawking, frenetic defense, frenzy, skirmish, heat type defense. They're not going to be the Thunder forcing turnovers. It's just going to be like, oh, you're always going against a set defense because the offense is so good. And we have better help for everybody else. But I do think that if you enter the season with the idea of like Jokic is going to have to like do better, it's not reasonable at this point. And I don't think that I personally do not think that Nikola Jokic is, no, I want to take that back because I don't know. If Jokic is aware that he doesn't have the energy that he used to, he is never, ever, 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 ever going to tell us.
Sure.
But if that communication is there privately, that's all that really matters, to be like, guys, I can't do that.
Yeah. It's not just like so much of it, especially last year, was him having to feel like he had to put the weight of the world on his shoulders in order to just get through game 60 last year and making sure that they were like, because they struggled in February, March, they struggled in a lot of these like late, like post All-Star break situations where like things were kind of crashing around them and they needed to just get through and score enough points. And they are going to be able to score enough points. They were the second best offense last year. And I think they got tremendously better on the offensive end with the additions that they actually made. So I'm curious to see how it goes.
Noam Chomsky asked, Matt, can you help me understand how Marc Gasol became DPOY and why Jokic can't do the same, given that they're similarly built? So what I will tell you is Marc was the best player I have ever seen at the level. Jokic can move side to side laterally and restrict the ball handler's movement for a good 3 to 4 steps.
Yeah.
Marc Gasol could do it from the right sideline to the left in a straight parallel. Like you would see these guards not be able to even get an inch of turn. They're just going literally side to side trying to get around Marc. And you combine that with his physicality, strength, and in the quickness of his hands, and it was unbelievable.
I do also think he was lighter. Like there's something to be said that Yoke would have to go into the low post a lot more, and he's feels like he has to battle a lot more down low in these situations. They had Zebo. A lot of the time.
Let's go ahead and talk about the most important defensive players. Who do you think is the most important defensive player on this roster?
I think it's Aaron Gordon still. I think that he is still the player that unlocks the most for Denver's defensive scheme when he is at his best. Christian Braun, I think, has established enough that he's going to be a solid on-ball, off-ball defender on the perimeter. I don't know how much better he's going to get than that, but I think that Aaron has shown elite skills on the defensive end. And him getting back, like, because he was average to subpar last year, him getting back to elite is the most like swing skill for Denver of anybody on the roster right now.
Okay, I'll flip it. I think it's Christian. Because I think Christian is harder. Aaron is never going to take the primary, not never. Aaron is most of the time not going to take the primary ball handler. Aaron's great against forwards, ball handling forwards. He's awesome at. The smaller you get, the more Aaron's going to struggle. Aaron struggles guarding 5s, and Aaron struggles guarding 1s. It's 2, 3s, and 4s where he can excel, but I think it's 2s he's not great at. 3s and 4s he's awesome at.
Yeah.
And too often last year, I think he got caught in situations where he was guarding 2s and 3s because of whatever.
Yeah.
So with Christian, though, I do think that now you're in a position where Christian's just going to be like that much, like I said, he's going to be that much better on screens. You can also, most teams have like the guy. There's not all of them, right? Like the Rockets are a good exception to this, but a lot of the team, like Shea's going to have the ball, right? Ant's going to have the ball. And just being able to be like, no, like you are going to see Christian every single time here. And what's going to be interesting to see is like, does David Adelman keep the same scheme of 1-4 switch, right? Because okay, I continue to believe that you should not give these switches easy, right?
It's a little different with Cam Johnson now instead of MPJ, though, maybe.
It is, but that what that really means, Ryan, is like that means that Jamal's got an even bigger target.
Yeah. I mean, I just don't know how you can avoid that. I really think that
don't switch it.
Well, so many teams are so good at punishing you when you try not to switch now. Like they'll attack these gaps, they'll slip screens, they will ghost action, like in guys like Isaiah Joe, Lou Dort would be able to do that.
That's like a playoff problem, right? But like let's think about this from a regular season perspective. Most of the time, if it's a team, you have to slice it out where it's like most teams aren't going to force the 1-4 switch because it's just not, they don't go switch hunting in the regular season.
I actually know what it is. It's because it's easier to switch physically.
And yes. And amongst the, but let's think of it this way, amongst the teams that do hunt, that do switch hunt, how many of them have the mechanisms in place with slip screenable forwards or guards to execute?
5 to 7 teams.
That's what I'm saying. Is like, if you don't switch and instead you blitz effectively or zone or whatever it is that you want to do to prevent that matchup from happening. And this is one of the nice things where it's like, hey, you better get this in now when Jamal's on the court, because once Bruce comes in, you can't be switch hunting anymore. Like when Bruce is in the starting lineup for Jamal and it's the 4 starters and Bruce, you don't have a good option for switch hunting. Good luck. Best of luck to you.
It's great. That's exactly what they should be going for. And that's why you have depth. It's why you have to have those guys. Let's take a break. When we come back, we are going to wrap things up with, hey, Warriors are kind of holding up free agency right now. They've screwed things up for everybody. We're going to talk about it next here on Locked On Nuggets. All right, before we get into that, I want to talk to you guys about 5-Hour Energy. Caffeine just got a new flavor upgrade, folks. 5-Hour Energy shots deliver tasty caffeine in 17 bold flavors. Each 2-ounce shot packs the caffeine of a premium 12-ounce cup of coffee, plus B vitamins and nutrients with 0 sugar and 0 crashes. What I love most is how portable they are. Big taste, tiny shot. You can take it anywhere and get the boost that you need. There's a variety of flavors that I like. I like the berry punch. The orange sickle is also very good. Those are the 2 flavors that I would go to. They're always refreshing. They give me a quick lift when I have a busy day. Enough with boring, flavorless caffeine. It's time to give your caffeine a flavor upgrade with 5-Hour Energy shots. Go get the favorites you love, or be bold and try something new in store and online at 5hourenergy.com or on Amazon today. We'll be right back here on Locked On Nuggets. All right, final segment, Locked On Nuggets. Thank you so much for tuning into the show. Did you have anything on defense that you wanted to wrap up with before we get into this?
No, I think we're talking about the most important defensive players. I think Cam's got to go before Bruce. We should probably actually put Jokic there just because it's like the responsibility that he holds.
Yeah.
Very high.
I mean, 100%. He is the linchpin of everything.
Yeah. So it's going to be Christian or AG 1-2, flip them however you want. And then Joker, and then Cam, and then probably Bruce.
Jamal will be on the floor more, but I do think that Bruce is the one, because you want him to change the game from the defensive side, right?
Yeah, Bruce is going to make an impact. Like, if Bruce isn't making an impact defensively, then it's trouble.
What about Peyton Watson? Where does he rank in there?
Next.
Yeah.
I think Jamal is like, it's okay. Jamal is not so bad that it's like he's irrelevant, right?
It's being like the off-ball point guard defender type, where you are the star offensive guard and you get to chill on defensive end because you have like so much responsibility on the other end. It is the easiest position to play in the NBA.
Well, and also I'll just say this, like the Nuggets gave up a lot of things where it's like they just kept putting Jamal in these situations where he's getting posted by guys.
Yeah.
And it's probably time to reevaluate some of this stuff and be like, hey, this isn't a good strategy anymore. They figured out how to attack it. Like it's so much of this is just like the scouting reports get better and better and better.
Yeah.
And it's like, Jamal can be a good defender in certain capacities. I actually don't notice that Jamal doesn't die on-ball screens at like an alarming, horrific rate. He's fine.
Yeah.
It's a tough situation for a small guard, but I'm not like, oh God, it's not like Trae Young where it's like, well, we'll see Trae on the next possession.
Ranking Denver's problems defensively, Jamal was very low on the list for me. Like he was.
I know he was for you. He was higher for me, but I think I think that's one where it's like you and I could do 3 months of research and come out with hyper competitive cases for both.
Yeah, no, I fully acknowledge that. Okay, let's wrap things up here by talking about the end of free agency, as we are 2 weeks away from training camp. The Warriors still have like 9 players on their roster. Why? Like, I understand why, actually. I'm not going to go into that, but Jonathan Kuminga has a deadline before October 1st to just sign the qualifying offer. We saw Cam Thomas do this in Brooklyn. We saw Josh Giddey actually get something done. Quentin Grimes has not gotten anything done with Philly, from what I understand. Do you think that anything's actually going to get done with the Warriors? Have they screwed this thing up?
No, I think that they've done what they needed to do. Everyone talks about Brogdon. I don't think Brogdon was a priority. I think the priority is Horford. Their priority in order is Horford, DeAnthony Melton, Gary Payton II, who they don't have to worry about because Gary knows he's not good anywhere else except Golden State. So, like, Gary's coming back, right?
Yeah.
Horford's either going to retire or not. And I don't think Al Horford is not sitting here waiting on Jonathan Kuminga.
This is what I'm kind of confused about. Like, why is Jonathan Kuminga, like, his actual contract holding this thing up when those guys are likely going to sign minimum contracts?
Minimums, which have the exception anyway.
Yeah.
I think it's probably about the Warriors don't want to agree to the deal if in the event that they're like, if they wind up in a situation where the trade, or if somebody comes through and is like, we will give you what you want for Kuminga, and that puts them back on because like their whole, we're not trading Kuminga. It's cool.
Yeah.
Like,
it's actually completely ridiculous, but fine.
Yeah. Yeah. Like they'll take calls that last week. If Kuminga says like, I'm going to sign the qualifying offer, they'll take calls that last week. Be like, just wait until October 30th. Like, I'm waiting until September 30th to sign it. And we'll keep working on trying to get you a deal. And they'll go back and they'll see whatever it is. Right. And if they don't find it, they'll be like, all right, go ahead and sign it. And we'll figure it out from there. But they'll want to keep those roster spots fluid in case they want to be able to make whatever deal that they can look at. Right.
Yeah.
There's just no real hurry on it. So it's like, Horford's not going anywhere. DeAnthony Melton's not going anywhere. And Gary Payton II's not going anywhere. And that's the 3 roster spots. So like, I just don't see, if you're the Warriors, your priority is maximizing this transaction. You don't need to work. Like, if DeAnthony Melton signs elsewhere, it's like, if Al Horford retires, it's like he was going to retire anyway.
Yeah.
So there's no real, I don't think the opportunity cost is as much as people are making it. It doesn't matter. None of this matters until training camp. And even then, it's like, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Like, Al Horford can come in and play with the Warriors if he wants.
But like, all of this for this Warriors team is wild. Like, this Warriors team was in the play-in last year. They're not going to be better.
They were in the play-in by a game because of the tiebreaker situation, right? And I don't want to sit here and just blindly be contrarian because of what you're saying, because I also have been like, really? Like, why are we buying into this Warriors team?
Right.
But like, look, I can poke a bunch of giant holes with a big stabby knife in their March performance that got them the record with Jimmy Butler. But if we just zoom out, Ryan, like they were killer with Jimmy. Like their win-loss record was insane. Their point differential was insane. Like they are banking it off of this is real.
Do you think that they win the Warriors series, or I'm sorry, the T-Wolves series, if Steph stays healthy the entire time?
I do not. I love that matchup for the Wolves the whole way.
Yeah.
And game 1 was obnoxious in how stupid it was. Like, it was just one of those really stupid games.
Is Chris Finch just bad at game 1s? Is he bad early in series? Is this what we're learning?
No, because like he murdered the Nuggets in game 1 of the 24 series.
He did it in both game 1 and game 2.
Yeah. So no, I think Chris Finch is a really great coach who had a terrible game 1 and game 2 versus the Thunder. But I think honestly, game 1 was just like one of those. Here's the thing. The Warriors have one of those squads that is, if you were alive at this time or cognizant of basketball, the 2011 to 2013 Celtics were like this. A bunch of old guys way past their prime who continued to just obnoxiously hang around.
Yeah.
Because they were able to they were just able to gimmick, like old man tricked their way into it's like, oh, it's 86-87 with 2:45 left. Like they were able to get the games where they needed them to be.
I cannot wait until we can move on from the previous era of superstars. And I just won't even name them, because I just think the league is now at a place where they need to move on.
I mean, I agree, but you just got to keep that energy when it's Yoke.
It could be that in 2 years.
Yeah. So it's just like, I'm fine with that, because I agree. I'm ready for Anthony Edwards, Cade Cunningham, Victor Wembanyama, Cooper Flagg, AJ DeBonsa,
Evan Mobley.
Mobley.
Jalen Johnson. Let's get into it.
I'm ready for all of those guys, but guys are hanging on longer and longer now. That's just the reality of where the sport is at.
It is what it is. We'll see whether the Warriors can actually turn things around for themselves. Last thing for you. Does Ben Simmons find a team by game 1? And does Russell Westbrook find a team by game 1?
He missed such a golden opportunity. We got seconds left here. The correct question is, does what happens first? Ben Simmons signs with an NBA team or the Chiefs win a game? Come on.
I wasn't going to bring up the fact that the Chiefs are 0-2.
I have to give it to you.
I wasn't going to bring up the fact that the Chiefs are 0-2 and Travis Kelce has made 2 boneheaded plays that have lost them 2 games in a row. Matt's drinking. We're out of time. Everybody, that's going to do it for this episode of Locked On Nuggets. Thank you for tuning into the show. Swiper will be with you on Monday or Tuesday, and then we will be back with you on Tuesday night. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in to this episode of Locked On Nuggets.
Bye.